In order to understand the current plague and problem with hypervisor-based encryption, we've got to go back. So if we start with the data center circa 2000s, you had physical servers where you would choose what operating system am I going to install, just like on your laptop. Is it Windows, is it Mac? But in the server world, it would be Windows or Linux. But there was three problems with this. Number one, very slow to deploy new servers. You'd have to go and physically buy one and ship it and cable it and turn it on and install. Number two, very inefficient, because it turns out they're not very busy all the time. And number three, it was really hard to do disaster recovery. If you lost a data center, it would take you weeks to rebuild all these physical servers. So what we saw 2005 to 2015 was the age of virtualization, where instead of installing the operating system directly on the physical server, we installed a shim, a layer, and we called that the hypervisor. And what that allowed us to do is create virtual machines, and it's the virtual machine where you install your operating system. So that is now running on top of the hypervisor. And as soon as we did this, this then fixed all of those problems, because now you're running many virtual machines on a physical server. Remove the inefficiency, you had portability and you had disaster recovery. But at the same time, 2015 onwards to 2022, we saw the rise of ransomware. Powered by crypto, anonymous payments, attackers could attack your environment, demand a ransom, and you had no way out. So we also saw a rise of endpoint protection, EDR, where, hey, if I install a sufficient piece of software inside each operating system, so each Windows or Linux operating system, inside each VM, I can stop that attacker from encrypting my files, because it's predominantly behavior-based, it looks for that encryption attack behavior, and it stops them dead in their tracks. And the attackers realized this. And what we saw 2022 onwards, and now extremely prolific in 2025, is the attackers figured out, well, hey, why would I try and encrypt your files at the operating system inside the VM when I can just go straight to the hypervisor host, where it turns out there is no ability to install any endpoint protection, because it was never designed for the modern age of ransomware. So this was a win-win for the attackers, because now if they encrypt you from the hypervisor without your endpoint protection ever seeing that attack coming, they can encrypt every single virtual machine in your environment. It is pure Armageddon. End result, if we look at 2025, 83% of attacks in the data center now encrypt from the hypervisor, not the operating system. If you're looking for a file-based attack, you're looking for the wrong thing, only 17%. If you think your endpoint protection can stop the attacker in the data center, you're wrong. It can't. They will go to the hypervisor. So the key questions you have to ask yourself is, how will you recover if every VM is offline, physically powered off, and it is encrypted and can't be turned back on? Will your backup and backup infrastructure catalog even survive and give you the ability to recover? Even if your backup catalog and backups have survived, how long will it take you to verify that you're even recovering a clean backup, given that the attacker can insert their backdoors, their indicators of compromise, and you can walk them back straight back into that environment by recovering the wrong backup? And if you factor all of this together, what is your current cyber RTO? Because this is the fundamental problem of why you see organizations down for weeks, sometimes months. So go and test this. And if you can't answer these questions, or the answer is it takes weeks, you need Rubrik. Click to learn how only Rubrik can get you back to business in hours versus days. Don't back up, go forward.